Years ago, my former spouse taunted me with cruel pride, crowing, "My new partner's a Harvard graduate, heading a prestigious department, not some unlettered nobody like you." I flashed a quiet smile and responded, "Enjoy the moment. By sunrise, he'll be unemployed." Back then, I was far from the person others looked up to. Leaving the divorce court, I held only a wallet, a cardboard box of clothes, and a document labeling me a failure. My ex-wife, Cassandra, stood outside, her smug smile honed to perfection, arm in arm with her new prize, Dr. Nathan Caldwell, a Harvard-trained leader of a renowned Boston biotech firm. He radiated charisma, pedigree, and wealth, everything she felt she deserved. I, by contrast, was the high school dropout running a small electronics repair business from my garage. Her words that day burned into my soul. "Don't take it personally, Marcus. I've upgraded. You were just a stepping stone. Nathan's the true catch. Try not to fumble your next chance at love, if anyone even gives you one." Those words broke me, but they ignited a fierce determination I hadn't known I possessed. While Cassandra flaunted her dazzling new life on social media, I dove into work beyond fixing gadgets. Night after night, I pored over books on business strategy, circuit engineering, startup funding, legal contracts, and artificial intelligence. I earned my GED, enrolled in community college, and later completed an online engineering degree. My garage evolved into a startup, and that startup grew into a company, all kept under wraps. No posts, no brags, no hints of my transformation until the previous weekend. Cassandra invited me, likely out of condescending pity, to her extravagant charity gala at the Caldwell estate, suggesting it could be valuable networking for someone like me. I almost declined, but the guest list stopped me cold. Nathan Caldwell's entire executive board would be there. I was no longer an insignificant figure. I was Marcus Reed, the unseen force behind their company's fiercest competitor. My company, Apex Core, had risen quietly, and I was poised to shake their world. The Caldwell estate oozed their obsession with status. Polished marble floors, delicate classical music floating through the air, and waiters in pristine tuxedos offering wines I couldn't have identified years ago, let alone been allowed near. I arrived in a tailored, slate gray suit, subtle, no flashy labels, just quiet confidence. No entourage, no name badge, no companion by my side. Cassandra barely noticed me at first, draped in a sparkling sapphire gown, adorned with jewels she likely didn't purchase herself. Her lips curled into that familiar, patronizing smirk from the courthouse. "Marcus? I didn't expect you to actually come," she said with a laugh. "You clean up nicely for a repairman." I held steady. "Thank you. I'm here to discuss business with Nathan." Her curiosity stirred. She blinked, then let out a forced chuckle. "Business with Nathan? He oversees the nation's top R&D division. I doubt he cares about your little devices." At that moment, Nathan approached, exuding the same lofty arrogance, sharp features, neatly combed hair, the picture of entitled superiority. He gave me a brief, dismissive look. "The ex-husband, still fiddling in that garage?" I smiled evenly. "No, I've advanced. Now I run the company that's about to crush yours in federal court." Their smug faces flickered with doubt. "Excuse me," Nathan said, his laugh tinged with unease. "I'm not here to debate," I replied calmly. "I just thought you'd want to hear it from me before the legal documents hit your board's desks on Monday." Cassandra laughed sharply. "You expect us to believe you, a dropout, are suing Nathan's company?" I nodded subtly toward the balcony, where a group of impeccably dressed individuals spoke in hushed tones. My Apex Core team, the rival firm that had just secured 3 of Nathan's critical subcontractors, his intellectual property consultant, and most crucially, the whistleblower ready to expose their unethical practices. "You don't have to believe me," I said. "But your attorneys will." Nathan's smile faltered. He scanned the room, his mind racing, realizing too late this was no ruse. "What are you trying to pull?" he whispered sharply. "Just catching up," I said coolly. "You took my wife. She took my pride. Now I'm taking your empire." Cassandra's face drained of color. "You're lying. You have nothing." I leaned in slightly. "Nathan will be out of a job by tomorrow. And you? You'll be back where you started, with no one foolish enough to pick up the pieces. I stepped back, letting my words sink in. That night wasn't about revenge through rage. It was about power through restraint, the kind of calculated precision that makes the arrogant realize they were never in control. By the end of the gala, the storm was already gathering. At exactly 7:45 a.m. the next morning, a sealed envelope arrived at the desk of Nathan's CEO. Delivered by federal agents. Subpoenas targeted his division for misappropriating research grants, fabricating patents, and insider trading tied to offshore accounts. Nathan called Cassandra in a panic. He wasn't bluffing, he snapped. It's all true. The leaks, the documents, the funding issues. Someone traced it back to us. Still dazed from the night before, Cassandra pressed her fingers to her forehead. Wait, how does Marcus have this kind of influence? He repairs machines. No, Nathan muttered, eyes wide. He builds empires. He owns Apex Core. They've been undermining our contracts for months, and I thought it was coincidence. It was him. Months earlier, after their mocking laughter and ostentatious new life, I'd made a vow, not just to even the score, but to create something extraordinary. I went quiet, collaborating with former intelligence engineers, cybersecurity specialists, and private equity firms eager to back a rising titan. Together, we built Apex Core into a shadow force, moving discreetly, acquiring key infrastructure Nathan's company depended on. When I had enough leverage, I acted. From my home office, I watched the news break. Caldwell Biotech's stock plummeted 42%. Headlines blared about federal investigations, whistleblower exposes, and halted contracts. Nathan was called before his board. Cassandra's credit card stopped working. Their luxurious condo shifted from a sanctuary to a gilded cage under scrutiny. 2 days later, an unknown number called me. I didn't pick up. I didn't need to. I knew it was Nathan, and I knew what he wanted. But the gears were in motion, and mercy wasn't part of the plan. 3 days after the investigation struck Caldwell Biotech, Cassandra's world collapsed like dominoes in slow motion. She visited her favorite boutique to pick up a reserved designer purse, a small solace after a brutal week, only to be told her card was declined. She laughed it off, tried another card, then another, all rejected. Mortified, she stormed out and called Nathan, hearing chaos in the background. They've frozen everything, Cassandra, he said. The board thinks I'm hiding funds. They're even investigating my ex-wife's accounts. What did you do? Me, she snapped. This is your mess. Fix it. You think I haven't tried? He yelled. Your ex is tearing me apart, and now you're caught in it too. Silence followed. The first time Nathan didn't call her love. At home, Cassandra tried accessing their joint investment accounts. Passwords were changed. Her personal laptop? Locked. Even utility payments stopped. Water was next. Then, on a Wednesday evening, the final blow. A process server at her door with 2 envelopes. Mrs. Caldwell, you've been served divorce papers from Nathan and a civil lawsuit for financial misrepresentation, marital fraud and collusion. Nathan was abandoning her to save himself. For the first time, Cassandra sank to the cold tile floor, surrounded by the ruins of the life she thought was invincible, and sobbed. Across town, I shared a quiet dinner with Elise, Nathan's ex-wife. She'd been eager to help dismantle the empire her ex had built, especially after the pain of their own divorce. You're a patient man, Marcus, she said, raising her glass. You didn't just settle the score, you crafted a masterpiece. I smiled. It's not done yet. 3 weeks later, broke, humiliated, and with her new marriage in ruins, Cassandra appeared at my doorstep. No call, no message. Just her standing in the rain, makeup smudged, designer clothes soaked, clutching the last luxury bag she hadn't sold. I opened the door, my face expressionless. Marcus, she said, her voice trembling. I had nowhere else to turn. I stepped aside, letting her in, but said nothing. She entered like a ghost of her former self. The bold, cruel woman who'd once handed me divorce papers like a trophy now vanished. She was quiet, broken. Nathan's gone. He's suing me. I can't access anything. I didn't even know what he was hiding. Please, Marcus, I was wrong about everything. I see it now. You were loyal, kind, real. I made a terrible mistake. I sat unmoved. She looked at me, desperate, like someone sinking. Can we try again? A voice came from the hallway. Marcus, who's at the door? Cassandra froze as a woman stepped into view, graceful, poised. Elise. Cassandra's face went white. Her? You're with her? I spoke at last. Elise has been helping me rebuild. Emotionally, legally, financially. She knows what betrayal feels like. Cassandra's lip trembled. Marcus, please. We were married. Doesn't that mean anything? I stood, retrieved an envelope from the hall table, and handed it to her. It did. That's why I protected myself long before you filed for divorce. This is your final settlement. Take it, sign it, and don't contact me again. She opened it, her mouth moving silently. It was more generous than she deserved, but it came with a strict NDA, no social media outbursts, no defamation. Why? She whispered. Why be kind even now? I met her eyes. Because I want you to live with it. I want you to remember the man you threw away for an illusion. I want that regret to linger every time you reach for something real and find it gone. She left without another word. Elise took my hand. That was elegant, she said. Revenge doesn't always need to be loud, I replied. Sometimes silence speaks louder than any outburst. 6 months later, Cassandra's life had fully unraveled. Nathan, the Harvard-educated department head she'd once boasted about, was divorced and jobless, his career ruined by the investigation I'd quietly triggered. Her name was linked to a public scandal, and she couldn't find work in her field or anywhere near it. Her so-called elite circle vanished when the headlines hit. Meanwhile, Elise and I built something new, a nonprofit to support those wounded by betrayal and manipulation, turning pain into purpose. The media took notice. Local outlets covered our work, and soon national ones called us the couple redefining resilience. One morning, a letter arrived in shaky handwriting from Cassandra. I saw your interview, it read. You look truly happy. I always thought you'd collapse without me, that I'd risen while you'd fallen. I was wrong. You moved forward. I'm stuck. If you ever think of me, I hope it's with pity. Or maybe not even that. I'm just sorry. I folded the letter and stored it, not for sentiment, but as a reminder. The greatest revenge isn't settling scores, it's rising above. For anyone who's been broken by betrayal, know this. You don't need to shout to be heard or fight to win. Stand tall, walk away with your dignity, and one day, they'll look back and see you as the chapter they could never close.